Hi, I'm Seamless, and I forgot to check what number 40K this is, but that's okay because I'll put it in the title, it'll be fine. And this is a Calyx Teebee song, requested by LogiSpark. LogiSpark. I always want to call it Logitech, you know, but like people can say it's Logitech. Logitech. LogiSpark, LogiSpark, whatever. Anyway, this is what it sounds like. Keyboard being sounds like, because I didn't quite nail it as hard as I wanted to. But I am very confident in my process, and all that it really takes is that you just be better at filters than I am to get the result you want. So this is a pretty straightforward EQ mod kind of thing, but a little bit more controlled than my usual fare. So I used only 3 notches this time. This top group of automation clips are the notches, and this is the bandpass after the fact. And I'll talk about what the original sound is in a second because it's not actually that important. Basically, we're after creating a sound that's very big and rich in harmonics. It's very harmonically busy, but it has a strong fundamental low end presence, so that when you distort it, it gets crunchy in a particular way. So I distorted the original sound, I put the notch, and then I distorted the notches, and then I put in the bandpass, and then I compressed it. But that's the order of the distortion. The position that I chose. So you can look at the automation clips as being basically representative of the spectrum, because this is a notch. Remember, so I mean, the very bottom most of the automation clip is the bottom most of the spectrum. The top most is the top. So when we see these sort of empty spaces that are left open in the big circle here, we can sort of like this empty space here, the space below or above the lines, we can say that those are the spaces that are going to be left alone from the notches, depending on the size and the bandwidth. The middle guy has less bandwidth than the rest of these guys, and that created an opening to create a specific tone. Now, I'm not wonderful at recreating filter specific tones using filters, but I know that most people are, so I know that you'll be able to go farther with this if you want to. And the bandpass is very simple, but I'm also doing post filtering with the bandpass EQ. I put in another notch just to put basically a permanent hole right here, which gets us actually the crux of the tone. Because watch what happens when I move it. It's a very specific tone that it creates. There's a big peak here just to force up the high end, but there's also lots of compression on the high end to also bring it up as well. And lots of compression on the low end to keep it specific. Although you might not have wanted to do that or even needed to, you could probably just accomplish that just fine by using external, like a sine wave reinforcement. That would have been just fine. But I like doing the compression. I like all of my stuff to be from one thing if at all possible. So that's why I do that. So let's look at the original sound. This is a citrus. It's a saw wave being FM'd by a frequency ratio 10 distorted sine wave. This is the tension. You just take the tension knob and move it up, and you get that. It's distortion, basically. Basically. That's going out, and I also have a sine and a saw and a sine going out together, just to add original harmonic reinforcement and then also bass reinforcement to go into the distortion. I have 4 voice unison engaged with various unison settings, but I also have over on the unison index tab a change in the input modulation. So the modulation is actually different for every voice, and the shape is actually derived from when I had it on 9 voices, where there was originally a center point, and then I brought it back down to 4 after the fact, which does not have a center point, but it does have these 2 voices are still evenly FM'd. This is so that the spectral difference was at least a bit even. This is just to give even more difference and uniqueness to each voice, which adds to the harmonic sort of wash. Let's see what this sounds like with all the voices added on individually. So here's the distortion. Here's the first EQ with the notches. Here's another distortion. Here's the bandpass. Big effect, huh? And here's the compression. And that's what's up. The FLP for this will be available for download, and there'll be a link for that in the description of this video, along with a link to the Reddit thread where requests are being made. If you'd like to make a request, you'll go to that Reddit thread, and then let's see how about doing it if I see it in the sea of hundreds of requests that are already there. If you have any questions about any of this, let me know. And as usual, have a nice day.